Hello, this is a question from the hand-in homework number 1, and we're asked just to find the domain of the function, essentially. They take it one step further and ask you to find the largest value of x that's in the domain. And so when you're asked a domain question, there's some things that you need to avoid. Division by 0 is not allowed. So if you have a fraction, then you need to take its denominator and make sure that it's never 0. So in this particular function, 4 plus 3x can never be 0. And solving that means 3x can never be negative 4. Therefore, x can never be negative 4/3. That takes care of the issue of having division by 0. The second issue that occurs with this particular problem is the fact that we have a square root. And so with square roots, you're not allowed to take the square root of a negative number. Okay. But instead of finding out what makes it negative and throwing that out, kind of like what you did with the division by 0, instead we just make sure that what is underneath the square root, we just ensure that that's positive or equal to 0. And so this function, this entire function, 3 minus 2x all over 4 plus 3x must be positive. But the issue with that is that we have the numerators changing and the denominators changing. And so when you have a fraction, it's going to be positive when they agree in sign. They must have the same sign. What we're going to do is take a study on what signs these functions have when. So we're going to do a sign analysis on the numerator, a sign analysis on the denominator, and then we'll divide to find out what the fraction's sign will be. So here's how that works. Let's separate each and let's find out, well, these are just lines, right? 3 minus 2x and 4 plus, they're lines. If we can find out where they're equal to 0 at, then we can know whether where they're positive and where they're negative at. And so 3 minus 2x is equal to 0 when x is 3/2. And 4 plus 3x is equal to 0 when x is negative 4/3. So what that does is that cuts our number line up into these basically 3 different regions. And so the function 3 minus 2x is a downward sloping line. It'll be positive on the left-hand side of where it's equal to 0 at and negative on the right-hand side of where it's equal to 0 at. The function is above the x-axis and then it's below the x-axis. But the other function, 4 plus 3x, is a positive sloping function. It'll be negative below where it's 0 at and positive above where it's 0 at. And so these will be the signs of these particular lines. In the function, we have the division of the 3 minus 2x by the 4 plus 3x. So in the first region, anything that's less than negative 4/3, you'll always have a positive divided by a negative, which ends up as a negative. In the middle region, you'll always have a positive divided by a positive, which ends up as a positive. And in the region of x's that are bigger than 3/2, you'll always have a negative divided by a positive, who ends up as a negative. You want this fraction to be positive. It only happens in between negative 4/3 and 3/2. You can equal to 3/2, so we use a square bracket. That means that the function would be 0. That's okay to take the square root of 0. But you cannot be equal to negative 4/3. That's what we had on our last slide, because it would cause division by 0. When you cannot equal, use parentheses, and when you can equal, use a square bracket. And then finally, to answer the deeper question, or the next question, they just want to know what is the biggest x value in your domain. And with this particular domain, what we have is 3/2 is the biggest x value. Okay, all right, that's it. Good job.